From EKTV, in the heartbeat of the Southwest, we break your day on EKTV Daybreak Nigeria with inclusive information, news without prejudice, well-articulated reportage, in-depth news analysis, newspaper highlights, business news, sports. Watch EKTV Daybreak Nigeria from 8 to 10 in the morning, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. EKTV Daybreak Nigeria, your agenda-setting program.
Right, here we are on the discussion segment of Daybreak Nigeria. And with us in the studio this morning is a professor of agric technology, distance learning in agriculture technology, and it is a professor of many fields as well, and we're happy to bring him to the studio. He is Professor Olu Makinde. Prof, thank you for coming on Daybreak Nigeria this morning.
Thank you for bringing me again.
All right. Yes, Professor Olu Makinde was DG Amti-Ilorin at the time. He was a national advisor to the Minister of Agriculture at the time and former Director General of Microcredit in Ekiti, popularly known as Baba Jembe then. Prof, thank you again for coming on Daybreak Nigeria. So, on the program this morning, we'll be talking on agricultural issues, particularly food management and how to curb food crisis in their country. Thank you for coming on Daybreak Nigeria. Yes, when you talk about food management, people will be looking at food management. How do you explain this?
By coincidence, about a month ago, the IMF announced that there will be food shortage in Africa, and there will be chronic food shortage in Nigeria. And the people wanted to kind of downplay this issue, and we replied that it's not only going to be a very bad food shortage in this country, but there is going to be, along with it, will be youth unemployment. So I came back to Ekiti about 2 months ago to let people know that it's very important for us to salvage Ekiti State and Nigeria in food management. The experience I gained from the World Bank when I was at AMTI gave me the impression that we can secure food very much in Ekiti. Let me give you an example. Ekiti has 8 dams. When I was here one time, when I was dealing with microcredit and Baba Jembe, my attention was pointed at 8 dams. Without water, you cannot make agriculture. So people who wait for rainy season, people wait for seasonal agriculture. We don't have to do that. With Ero Dam, with Egwe Dam, and so on and so forth, we can develop robust agricultural management in this state. There's no need that we have to borrow food from outside. And that is why as I came in, I'm retired back home now to train youths, particularly youths as service providers. I developed that program with my uncle, who's now in the US, is from Ado Ekiti also. And we developed it to use youth as service providers for their parents. It's not all youth that we go out and farm. You don't want to farm with all this rubbish equipment. They want to farm with
They want to go into mechanized farming.
Mechanized farming, what we refer to as an advantage of youth. They want to have agriculture and have fun on it. So I appeal to the government today that youth should be taught in how to become service providers. I was in Jigawa one time. I saw youth baling. They were baling this raw stock of grass. And I said, why? They said there'll be a time when there was no grass at all for animals to feed on. And it was during the time of Obasanjo that I was also very much involved in microcredit. I was one of those people who designed the poverty alleviation program for this country. So there's no need why Ekiti should suffer, for example. There's no need why Nigeria should suffer from food security. There must be food security in this country wherever we go, particularly putting our youth into agri-friendly machinery.
No, but the truth of the matter is that when we're talking about this youth that we're talking about, a lot of the youths these days are only interested in
quick money.
A lot of them are not interested in whatever will give them stress. And how do you think bringing such kind of children with that kind of mindset already, bringing them back to the table and letting them understand the need for youth, how do you think that government should go about it?
Yes, that's a very good question. It takes me back into when I was in the US, when we are taking, they call it 12 years. 12 years. When you are 12 years old, you must take a very good interest in equipment friendly. The equipment must be friendly. It must be like toys that they can use to prepare agriculture. We train them, particularly those people in the penitentiary. You know how many people are put in correctional centers today? Youths are in the correctional center because they did something that is not good. In the correctional centers, we should create farms. Let's say the prison in Ekiti now, you create farms for youth. In the syllabus of youth that I taught in the US, they had 1 day, 6 hours on Thursdays to farm agriculture. Not agriculture where you go to take hoes and cutlasses. It's a machinery-friendly agriculture that they can use there when you want to cut grass. You don't need to cut grass by your machete. You have to cut grass through, we use equipment that can either fumigate. And then within a short period of time, people wait for rain. They make rain in the US. What I mean making rain is that where you have dams, they build dams to everywhere. Then coming now, what you call greenhouses. You use greenhouses. People don't use greenhouses here. Our fathers in those days used to use what you call greenhouses. That is, this plantation is done in their houses. And then for post-agricultural, what is important in this, another thing that is important in this country is post-agriculture, post-harvesting. People don't take care of post-harvest in this country. Once they have harvested, that's enough to the next year we'll continue again.
But they also do with the place of provision of silo or preservation.
It is not only silo, but silo is very important. I admire somebody like Afeba Alola in this state. When we started together, Afeba Alola's farm, the man was saying this, how my father used to teach me. I said, no. He said, you can't go the way your father was going. And the man agreed that he would do what we call mechanized agriculture. He now had to buy tractors. And he now had to buy. One of the days he sent me to go and see whether he can assist them in making this, what do you call it, when you go to his university now, you see silos. Then before I got to Lokoja, he called me back, Olu, come back, you don't need to go and buy that again. How much rice is grown in Ekiti? We're going to put all this rice. If you go there, you see that there is not much storage inside it. But do you have to store the rice that is grown in Ekiti alone? You can buy rice. During the harvesting period, equip them, kill the rice. And then by the time there is no rice in the country, particularly during the December to January time, you get rice done. The same thing with water. The man devises, look at his farm, he's a modern man. When you look at his farm and you see there was a stream coming down after Oreje, he said he will propel it. He will make electricity out of that stream. And I'm sure he must have made it now. Then all the dams that are around him, he had to tap them. These are the things that are very important. Now you are talking about a very important thing about using all these to store storage. Storage start from the farm. Farm storage, you don't need any of this equipment in farm storage. You can do by label farm storage at the back of your your garage. You can store, aerate them. Our father used to aerate them with ladder. They had ladder construction in their farms. What approach to all those now? Let me go to women. Our agriculture does not respect women. Our agriculture does not engage women, and they are in quantum. They are at home, particularly in the north. They are where they don't have to go outside. They can use a lot of women inside post harvest, and that to me we can develop in Ekiti too. The women in school, I can agree, I can advise them that we control the days in school. Why don't we, when we can say Saturday is for rest, we can say Thursday is for agricultural in school. The governor here can make a very huge publicity out of farm in school. In those days when we were in Christ school, there was a time that Baba Sanusi, they asked him to take us to Christ school, and we will have our own plots. Wherever you have your own plots, you now take 10% of what you harvest at the end of your term home to your mother. Will that mother not be happy? So we used to take our farm harvest home as part of ours. That should be started. The governor owns the day, the governor owns the teachers, the governor owns everything there. Create a day for farm right. We call it farm right.
Okay. Now, yes, when you talk about mass food production,
yes,
you are talking about agriculture in business, and it requires capital to do that.
Yes.
And do you think government in our country has been able to make enough capital accessible for farmers?
I would say no, they haven't. For the 5 years I spent in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, they were trying, but their trial was about 20%. Whereas food, Yoruba say they should make sure that the first thing after air, water, is agriculture, is food. So without food you can't live. So they should put more money into agriculture, not only into agriculture as oil and cutlasses, particularly agricultural equipmentation. You must come and equip your people to make agriculture. And I'm still going to hammer on the youth. When we were taught in Christ school how to do agriculture, we came out. In everywhere I've gone, even in the US, during the snow, I used to fall back into Baba Sanusi. He was a literate man in Abdul here. He taught us how to make manure, taught us how to do simple things like that. So when you go to the school, dedicate a day for farming. Maybe 8 to 4 o'clock, or 8 to 12 noon, and let them go on, wash them off, and go back to class. Go and record what you have. So every Thursday in the life of an Ekiti young man should be spent in the farm. When they come out, they will not hate farms. That's my simplicity.
You were at a time a national advisor to the Minister for Agriculture.
Yes.
Were you able to tell him all of these, and what was his response?
Well, the man I work with is a genius also. He's a cousin to the current head of state.
Okay, president.
Yes, the president is Alhaji Salisango Daura. He's an economist, per se. But he brought economy into agriculture. And then we spoke at length. It was during his time with Professor Angu Ablai that we started the poverty alleviation project, and it went well. But it was in theory alone, not in deed and truth. So because I have 5 volumes of what we wrote down, but after we left the place, nobody touched it again. Nobody touched them again. It's all looking for money.
Because of lack of continuity.
Lack of continuity and money. Money makes everything, yes, but you must be able to have continuity. You must be able to have sustainability. That's what the World Bank taught us. The Canadians, they rely more on sustainable farming. Not just farm today, perish, come back tomorrow again. Farm this year, good harvest, next tomorrow, there's no good harvest. It must be sustainable.
We have always been having agric as a course, either in the primary, secondary school, and at the same time, even in the university, we have it as a department. Now, the question is, let me come to the issue of the university now. How can our institutions, because we believe that is where knowledge we're supposed to, most of research are done, and so how does these universities come in ensuring that some of this food preservation is actually achieved in Nigeria? Because sometimes the government is not good in business. Hello, it's not even meant to be in business.
No.
So it's supposed to be majorly those people that are doing those research, which are supposed to be the universities that are supposed. So what can the university do? How can they create a kind of agriculture that is sustainable in Nigeria?
Well, with our experience of 8 months of strike, I'm very sad that this strike, they thought it will affect only the young ones in school, affect everybody in his palace, even the kings. Because you can use time, like Erufai said that, there should be school on Saturday. He doesn't want to eradicate the idea of getting, Saturday was given to us by the British people. Why can't we change it and say Saturday should be for farming? If we own it, I'm still going back to this aspect of university graduates don't want to touch the soil. They don't want to dirty their hands. So that you have to find them things that they can be familiar with, that they can be easily employed to do the agriculture.
But the Ekiti has things like white card. I remember there was this program, white card in Ekiti.
During the first time of
during the first time of Governor Fayemi. And I remember I was actually talking to the technical advisor to the governor on agric, and the man said that he was shocked that out of the number of people that the youth that were brought into that program, hardly do they have 10% of them that actually achieved something.
I'm not a good politician, but I say one of the damages people do in this state. I'm above 70, so anybody I offend should forgive me. I was born in Ekiti by a tailor, and then when I built my house in Ekiti, now I put tailor in there. We have an entrepreneurship center in Ekiti. I'm just diverting. That was built by a man in the military, and then it's not even announced anything. And I introduced entrepreneurship in agriculture there. Going back to the universities and going back to people not just doing what they like. They will now bring out youths who are vandals, who are looking for money alone, not youths that have been soaked in agriculture. When you want somebody to go and do it, somebody has to be friendly with that culture. But once they want to, whoever you want to punish, throw him in agriculture. It's not going to develop. You cannot punish somebody with agriculture, but you can punish somebody with money. So most of the people you saw in those programs in those days were touts, were running around with them during the campaign. And then once there's nobody, nowhere to put them, just put them into gashua, throw them into agriculture, that's their own gashua. It's not right. Let people develop interest in agriculture. Developing interest in agriculture is like a faith. The people go to church, and then anywhere their mind goes, it goes to that farm. Let me go and see my cat. Let me go and see this. Let me go. My little boy, he developed. My little boy was at the age of 12. I stopped paying his fees at the age of 12. What did he do? He took a bath at home, and he wanted to study fisheries, and he used to soak to rear his fishery in a bath. One day he came to give me 75,000 naira in 2 baths. He said, "Daddy, don't pay my fees again. I've got 75,000 naira for you, for the college where he's in the University of Abuja. Today now he's hatching his fish." You treat them young. When they don't know anything. So that is the kind of thing I wanted to do about that kind of project. Let them resuscitate the agricultural, not agriculture, it's called entrepreneurship in Ekiti. As you are going through the old road, you see that on the right. A military person from our land brought that there. No youth is there now today.
Okay, now yes, to encourage youths to develop interest in agriculture, like you said, can we now say that government should make agriculture a compulsory subject? Either you are a science student, art student, it's a compulsory subject in secondary school.
I won't say compulsory because I'm going to be looking into human rights. I will say an initiative. It should be a compulsory initiative. Because when you say compulsory subject in school, like when they threw away, one thing that has been done in this country was a hard push by our late minister, Prof was to, I'm diverting, was to have language and history as a part of our subjects.
Curriculum.
Anybody wants to become a senator in Nigeria, anybody wants to become a House of Rep, must learn 2 languages after yours. If you are a Yoruba man, you learn Igbo and Hausa. Language breaks everything, like agriculture. I went to Benin Republic. I had an account in Benin Road with my sister. My sister is here in Ado Ekiti as a businesswoman on the way to the new road. And I took her there one day. They didn't want to settle her account for her in Cotonou. When I broke into French, people love me. They were coming to me. When I started to speak French, I gone down from when I was working with the World Bank project in Ilorin. I learned French. Why don't we take the multilingual thing, breaking the soil of agriculture? So anywhere you go, sonu, you say sonu, you don't to them. You come take it, you say yorao. And then you use language for that. That's one. Then implementation of agriculture. People don't take attention to that. Buy very useful, playable equipment that is youth friendly. I'm still saying on youth. I'm going to concentrate on that as I settle now in Ado Ekiti. I have to employ youth to do my farm. If the government cannot use time is what they need. As I told you, on Thursdays, I say Thursdays, set them up for 6 hours. Give them a part of the plot. So if you give a child 10%, 20% of what he has harvested, she cannot go. So I give you an example. I was with the Emir of Ilorin a few years when I was in Ilorin, and I saw those dongaris like Omode Owa in Ekiti. Say, Baba, how do you feed these people? Only no. How can I not board these people here?
Everybody.
Big these dongaris. It's okay. Give me a bus. He gave me a bus. Take a cutlass and so on. He went with us to a land. He said, "This is my land, fine." And I told people, go and take off this dongari and then start planting seeds of vegetable. Because I want something that is rapid, progressive. In 4 weeks, they have developed tete. All this shoko and so like that. I said, go and bring a basket. Somebody brought small baskets, or people brought light baskets to that farm. All the dongaris, I took only 20 of them. And then I said, okay, harvest with sickles. It was not harvesting like they used to do before. It's sickles. They harvested. I said, collect what is in your place. They collected it. I said, okay, go to KBSC. And the Emir said, somebody brought small, somebody brought big. Tell them to go and sell it in the market. So they sold those things as according to the size of the basket. And they brought the money to Emir. I said, look, Emir, please, open a bank account for them. The second time when I came there to look at how they can do, pepper, the same method, 6 weeks. Then I said, go and bring your basket. I don't harvest. People don't brought basket, I look at houses. So I said, okay. And I harvested this pepper, go and sell them. They sold them. Your bank account should be done. So everybody has a bank account. Today when I entered into the palace, they said, that project was not going on anymore since I left Ilorin. The now thing is, you now make sure that the farmer is happy with what he has done. So these are the ways by which you can bring youth, and I talk about youth, I talk about adults. People have retired. I have a course now that I teach in what we call post-retirement course. Like you people having ties now, I will take your ties away and put you in agriculture. You don't go into agriculture of hoes and cutlasses. You go into agriculture of what we call initiatives in post-harvest. We are suffering from it. Our harvesting get dropped after some time. Something like you can talk about water resources. Look at the back of your father's house. There's a mini dam there. Then you do it. Do greenhouse. Don't do outhouse. So you have technology that you can even wear ties and go there anytime. Particularly survival of agricultural production.
Okay, let's now look at the youth that we're talking about. We've said it that our youth these days, go after quick money. Some of them are into internet fraud, Yahoo Plus and all of that, killing for ritual, to make money. Yeah, and these are actually, worrisome. So how can we change their orientation? Because they have this mindset that is difficult to, you understand, somebody, a student that has not started, doing anything profitable using a vehicle of maybe 5 million naira or so, you now want to bring him back to agriculture. How can we change their orientation, that mindset that they have already developed?
Now, I will say I wouldn't bother about those people who are rotting, because I know you can do with rotten eggs. I would bother about those people who are creeping, who are coming in. It is home training. It is what we call etiquette at home. I know some of this, even you people, media people, you have to gauge it too. What they watch on television, because when one of the government brought in a computer into, because that will really associate their education. These people were interested more in blue films than in using what do you call it, their computer for agriculture. So I went down during I think it was Shegun Oni was there then. I said, the computer you're giving to these people must be agricultural computer. Then you talk about mathematics, those major subjects in school that they will teach. They will not see people making a juju or turning people to snakes or snakes to human beings. They won't do that anymore. It is family orientation. Then take their mothers, particularly women. Women own the child's soul. But
some of the women are actually encouraging their children. They will say, see your friend. Whatever he's doing, go and do it.
The economic situation of the country has actually made a lot of parents to feel, come, do whatever your friends are doing, just bring money in. Because the economy is not actually funny.
When you use nowadays is not when we were youths. When I was a youth, I was the first batch of newspaper boys, vendors in Ado Ekiti. I got my scholarship through Christ School by being a vendor for the Archdeacon of our Anglican Church. And when I telling me so that was fun to me. The man did not make me send newspaper. My mother's father, Anishinoro, did not make me send newspaper. He gave me a bicycle which has horn. So it was me, who can control horn in Ekiti. I said, Papa, then you come out and get your yes. Fun that they can do. Once they are orientated in those homes, they cannot look back. Let me give you an example. I'm always referring to Babafe. He was a lawyer. His initiative for agriculture came when he was doing farming in his father's home. I asked him, have they put a nail in your head? Sorry, hello. Can go there and do farming. He said they were essentially, you will just do it yourself. Then look at what came as initiative. Then one day I said, Baba, this way you are making rules and cutlasses to say, no, that's how my father used to do it. The father disciplined him. Our parents, there must be a farming activity for parents. Let the women who come and they say encourage their children. When the government introduces them to microcredit or Baba Jembe as they used to have me, let them put farming inside it. 40% of what you do must be farming. And the Oloyes inside I'm talking about it because I come from here. All the Oloyes should be involved, not just look at the Oko. No, you'll be involved in this farming, mechanization farming. At that time, this time, I'm not making any advertisement. The federal government is getting into agricultural machinery, agricultural machinery marketing. You get a tractor and then you use it for your community. And you can now ask other people to go and then you make money out of it. Let the children, they would like to play on tractors. I'm still coming back to youth because they love things that they can play with. I know money is a devil in this place because you mentioned something about the economy of the country. Who makes the economy? It's we. I told people when I was retired, I said there's no time in my life that I'll be wanting of money. I'm a money maker. Sending my newspaper, Daily Times, Nigerian Tribune, by train me on how to make money. And I made money when I was in the US. And things that the people don't know. Along with agriculture, there is going to be fun. I'm an entertainer.
Then the issue of financial discipline, has to be considered, because some of the grants and loans that people are taking, they divert it. Even in this, we have Bank of Agriculture,
yes,
and some people will go and take loan.
A lot of people take loan, and the end of the whole thing goes.
And at the same time, the real farmers,
even the Shopee program that they're doing, where they are bringing in a lot of youth of different. But you see them, a lot of them, they are supposed to go into agriculture and other things, and they will train them. They are paying them as they train them, but none of them is actually even producing anything.
Well, maybe your spoon for weighing their success is long. Mine is short. When I was doing microcredit with, I think it's Engineer Shegun, then I'm no longer inside those kind of boat anymore. The Gender program, we introduced what we call Anchor program, Anchor farming program. And after Anchor farming program, we introduced mentorship. That is, you bring your mentor before you get the money. If I want to do that again now, I will always introduce entrepreneurship. In that entrepreneurship in agriculture, you must have 20% of saving that you show to your bank. The bank will say, bring this an amount of money, 20% must remain in your bank account before you come to the next one. So if you don't just take the money and say, it started going to
national cake.
Yeah, national cake. There is no national. We are the nation. So if you cake ourselves, we are going to be in trouble. So when you allow people to realize, people who are not very happy with me, say nobody will do it in Ekiti. Somebody said, somebody said, you're the second time. Somebody who doesn't say first time, what can you do the second time? I'm speaking in the language in Ekiti. We are now in Ekiti. When I said bring a surety, bring a guarantor, the guarantor must be a known farmer. They brought people, they will not list 100 names inside the surety who has never seen a farm here before. So when I got all this, I just kicked out myself. Said no, I'm not going to work with them anymore, because they are not sincere. When we had Mr. Rogunade in those days of Okela, I went to school in Okela to discipline us against taking flower. When you plant flowers in the schools, when you kind of take a flower, he said teacher should snap you like this too. One cane, boom. So take 2 flowers, 2 canes. Well, those develop you more than when you go into penitentiaries, or when you are writing Yakoto, they're not throwing you to the prison. You say, at your youth, you don't respect anything. Now, headmaster in those days said, any on the shoe, give me the shoe. We are the killer of ourselves. They put those signs in our classrooms, and we learn from them. Ethical education. I'm an educator, but ethical education plus agricultural fidelity. And they don't take all the crops and use them alone. Community service. Now let me give you another one we go, because I stumbled on your program one day, and I was just subbing, and they allowed me to make a quick interjection. Before I made that, I said the colleges of what do you call them, federal colleges or
agriculture.
Agriculture should be stayed in every local government. 1. 2, the technical colleges, there are 5 of them here now, and I'm working with one now on my own self-discipline, the one in Otu. And it's so shabby. Nothing there. Why are your tractors? Nothing. Where are the things you are making from? I said the government should design 20% of their budget for agricultural mechanization, agricultural methodology, agricultural. So now I think they're going to turn it. You don't even need to turn it. If you tell the World Bank that you are going to use it for agricultural methodology, they'll give you a grant. If you go to additional in
African development,
yes, and to say that you're going to do agriculture for agricultural management and equipment, it will give you the grant. But control of the grant by the principals is also better than throwing it to the politicians and say, oh, go and bring me a mentor. You go and bring a mentor, it's their father and mother that they are bringing, and that doesn't work. Let the federal economy be fused into the community. I've written a proposal now to the ORE of Photo. He was very excited when I gave the lecture. He called me to his house and I said, I will develop not the technical college alone, technical college fused into the community, because they came out of the community. And I think that's what we're looking at now.
Okay, yes, still talking about money.
Yes.
Some of these government efforts are always, frustrated by, people who always want to kind of make money in every situation. Then talking about loans to farmers, you get to know that some of these loans are taken by portfolio farmers, people who don't have any farm, people who have not even for once been to the farm.
Yes.
So how can we guard against this? How can grants and loans, for farmers get to them, and monitoring too? You understand, when you give out loan for farming, how can government really do a monitoring, activity that will ensure that the money is actually spent on the purpose?
Yes, charity begins where? At home. From home, not at home. Charity begins from home. Anybody, I'm sorry, I'm a politician to an extent, but when I go with my politicians, the youths, the coming out youths in these days, I'm very sorry for them. Because the first thing that a politician would do, once he gets that money, is to aim at what they did. Car. We got a flush car, a Porsche car, and then you ride all over the place. So their mentality, you have to really work on their mentality. 1, 2. The American government just came about 2 months ago. I participated in that to look at a grant given on rice and cassava for Ekiti. Fayemi did that before he left. Believe me, those you saw there, when we saw it coming to that, there are people who have never seen, who have never worked actually in any rice or cassava. They have worked for the government to earn their resources in politics. So where am I going to get this man to be engaged? Let us put it in this money. And I told the man in charge of it, don't do that. Before you give anybody the money, let us see his background. So by 2 weeks ago, they came back to us. They went from one farm to the other. From America, that you actually have a farm to work with. They came with a lot of questions. Luckily, I think the new governor has now taken an advisor. She called me and she said, how can we work together? I said, we're going to work together because they are going to give you this money depending on seeing your background in agriculture. You must do home study, or you give money. You give money to somebody and say, oh, because I'm the House of Rep of these people, I must satisfy them. Whatever they do, let them go and buy shinap and everything, and then they drink. It doesn't matter. Just to have my own people following me. That is the agriculture, political agriculture. We should eradicate that in the Ekiti state. Okay. But, that's my own.
Okay, we don't have much time left on the program. Yes, what's your advice to our people, watching us now?
And permit me just to make a small Ekiti. Only Ilera. You look at your yard. I was telling my people, I look at Ayemi garage. Somebody came to me, just give me a small, my cousin. She wanted to ask me to get her, what we call this, keke napep, to be trading. I said, look at my land here, close to the river. Come there and do a shadoof irrigation. Are you with me? So that you can bring vegetables. My wife and I did this when we were in the US. We make money. Shadoof irrigation. The water is flowing around me. Say, come, I give you money to go and buy seed and everything. That was about a week ago. She never came back again. So, what we are going to do is to also take them when they are young. Catch them young. I'm sorry, Oga. You said that they only go into nefarious businesses. Catch them young. My Akiola cannot do anything except agricultural productivity now. Yes, it's built. I don't pay his fees anymore. He just give me some other thing. If there are monetary advantages at their backyard that they can use to develop agriculture. Secondly, the leaders, they should be schooled. I am thinking very much of, because most of our KBC now are very fast and intelligent people. You don't take KBC because if I need to share anywhere in the farm, if I live in a so don't get if I alone. scrutinize them, take the best out of your father's family to be your Oba, and the Oba will lead. Oreotu is leading his people out of his traveling. He has seen more, but the kind of because ẹni tó Ifá mú Ifá ò sí bí ikùn wà bẹ́ẹ̀. So we should have to develop a way for our natural rulers to lead this vanguard. Then go to our governors, then go to our politicians. If they lead well, their children will follow.
Okay, thank you. Professor Olu Makinde, a professor of distance learning in agricultural technology, has been speaking with us on food management and efforts to curb food scarcity. Prof, thank you for your time on Daybreak Nigeria.
You're very welcome. I
wish you success.
Thank you.
All right, Austin.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're glad to be part of the program this morning, and I'm so sure that in a couple of time, our youth will begin to have this kind of mindset that they need to provide food for the nation. I'm Sito Simbo, and we'll meet again on Monday. Have a good morning.
All right, like you said, next week Monday is another date for Daybreak Nigeria. Please join us then. I'm Tunji Saliu. Good morning.
Daybreak Nigeria from EKTV in the heartbeat of the Southwest. We break your day on EKTV Daybreak Nigeria with inclusive